Hello and welcome to Futureproof. You're watching Sarah Hopwood here in the studio as we continue this business television programme looking at the power of emotional intelligence, future-proofing, what does it mean for business owners, employers and indeed students, but also what does it mean for students. And today I have Kat Vizor here from a charity, filming in our studio here in Shoreham for Latest Television, and I've actually known Kat for a while, but I'm going to get her to introduce herself and say who she is and what she does. Welcome to the programme, Kat.
Hi Sarah, thank you very much for having me on today.
Yeah, fantastic to see you. So Kat, who are you and what do you do?
So I run a youth charity called Esteem. We're based in Shoreham, and it was founded by my mum, and it's a real it's a piece of work really close to my heart.
Yeah. And so Esteem, first of all, what does that mean? Because it's an acronym, isn't it?
It does. Now you're testing me.
We'll give you some of the words.
It's empowerment is the first most important.
Yeah.
Then we offer support, training, environment and experiences and mentoring.
Yes! Your mum would be very, very proud. Now I do know, because I spent a short time on the board, so I did actually meet you all, and it is a Shoreham based charity. They do amazing work, but what's nice for me is I knew you from a couple of years ago. I haven't had much to do with you in those few years, and the charity just going from strength to strength. Can I ask first of all, why is it close to your heart? Why are you involved?
So my mum started it, as I said, and she was a single mum and really sort of struggled to get it off the ground. Her vision was really big, and she was going to close it down when she ran out of steam, and I decided to take it over and bring in my own outdoor interests of water sports. I'm really into surfing, and I just had a sort of I wanted to start a charity myself anyway, and thought let's just bring the two together. My mum's really focused on personal development, as I am as well. So that's where it came from.
So, and your role has grown and grown. So when I first knew you, you were just beginning to gain a sense of momentum, and I know you were looking at recruitment, but catching up with you just now before filming, it's really doing so well. So you are now properly in place as the CEO, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
And so what staff are you employing now?
Oh, it's an exciting time. We've actually just recruited a new person who's the wellbeing and project manager and safeguarding lead, which is great because I've had all the safeguarding before then, which is quite a lot to deal with, as well as running a charity. So we've got Meredy, and then we've got Emma, who joined a couple of years ago when we were funded by the National Lottery, which was the real instigator of our growth as an organisation. It made a massive difference to us. We've got a project worker, Jinx, who's great, and lots of other staff who do a few bits here and there with drop-ins and things like that, and of course the whole community who volunteers and get involved, and most importantly the young adults themselves, some who we employ who've grown in their experience and confidence, and then others who are volunteering to gain that confidence and grow their skill base.
Yes, and I've met some of those young adults, and before we continue I just want to go back to that lottery funding, because I was involved at that time, and I remember that application went in to the wire. I mean, it was literally like the last seconds and hitting send or what have you to get that application in.
It was a big process,
because the paperwork's quite comprehensive, isn't it?
It took us about 2 years to apply, and I was very fortunate to have Adrian, who sadly passed away, who runs Ada Voluntary Action,
Oh gosh.
And his support, and a friend of mine, Rachel Batten, who's a consultant, with the support of other people, we were able to do a really good application to the lottery, and we've never looked back since. The lottery have gave us an extra 10% just recently to fund my role as chief officer, and then that enabled us to give me time to apply for more funding. So we have just secured funding from Henry Smith that pays for my role for 3 years. So that's the biggest weight off my mind.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Now, what I love, and it's very, very close to my heart, is the work that you are working with young adults. And I actually came in and I ran a session, didn't I, somewhere? Was it the Job Centre in Port Slade or something?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the subject was, but it is very close to my heart. So for years I ran something called Equipping Young Adults for Life. And for me it was where clients used to get me to work with their growing teenage university orientated children who were at a crossroads, and some of them really didn't know what to do or had confidence issues, and I was passionate about equipping young adults for life. And the young adult bit is important to me because they're not children, and it is, to me, it demonstrates how we communicate with them. And I've watched you, that you treat them as equals, don't you, in
of course, yeah.
every way, shape and form. Exactly, it's not bending down, or you literally are treating them as equals. So much so that you've just done a master's, and your dissertation subject was?
Well, it was a master's from the Institute of Development Studies, which is #1 in the world here in Brighton, and we're doing the course of Power, Participation and Social Change, which is a mouthful but so meaningful, and it's actually changed my way of life because it's about participatory inclusion, participatory action research, and we've been looking at a youth citizenship crisis actually.
Could you tell me more about that?
Yeah. It's a big subject.
Yes, it is.
And the difference about this master's is that it's from the perspectives of young adults themselves, and so it's a co-research inquiry. I had two young adults, Jess and Alex, who have been instrumental in, we worked as a team to do activities and include young adults' voices prominently in the research process, and through the stories that they've shared and their experiences and their really valid knowledge that they can pass on to other people, they've enabled us to discover that there is actually a youth citizenship crisis. Young adults are treated differently in society. They're paid less if they're under 25, they receive lower benefits, they can't vote. They're expected to be transitioning to adulthood, but there's a lot of barriers that they have to overcome, as well as you're well aware, the other social pressures that people are under today.
And so I love the citizenship, the word citizenship. So you had people actively from Esteem joining in with this contribution to that debate?
Yeah.
And did they do it individually, or was it like a panel discussion, or?
No, it's a really different process. It's much more relaxed and fun. There's participatory action research is really about using fun activities or methods that are really interactive. So rather than me interviewing you or giving you a questionnaire to find out what you think, we would have a group discussion, and we might first of all have a discussion, and then I might ask you a question about what's really important to you, and then each person in the discussion would then write down, for example on post-it notes, all of the things that they think are important, and that means each person has their own voice, it's not influenced by other people. Then we put them all on the table and everyone clusters them in groups so that you can see similarities, and then we ask people, we might give them 10 grains of pasta, 10 beans each, and then they would prioritise according to what they believe is the most important now that they can see the whole group. And it's lots of things like that. Fantastic.
Kat, do stay with me. I hope you're enjoying hearing what Kat has to say about this. There's more to come. And she mentioned to me the title of Our Future Possible Selves. And I wish I'd had that discussion when I was younger to find out, and to inspire myself, I think, and be motivated. So stay with us whilst we hear what Kat has to say about it all. Maybe grab a cuppa. Hello and welcome back to Futureproof, the business television programme looking at the power of emotional intelligence and all things associated with a great feeling of future-proofing, feeling safe moving forward. It isn't always about doing things, very often it's about how we think and how we problem solve. And sometimes I run sessions on my own, and other times I invite people into the studio, and Here in Shoreham, I'm delighted I have Kat Vizor with me. Thank you for staying with me, Kat. And before going on, I want to just clarify, Esteem is a Sussex-based charity. And I know as we were going into the break, Kat, you want to say a little bit more about the Citizenship, didn't you?
Yeah, so people often think of Citizenship as being a model of paying your taxes and voting and being active citizens that way, but actually I think the other side of citizenship, which is more community based and helping your neighbours or caring for people in the family, is often not recognised as citizenship, but a really valuable part of society. And that's what Esteem is recognising that young adults are doing, but there's a lot of barriers also preventing young adults from being able to act as in the full capacity as citizens because of the social pressures that they're experiencing.
I love it. I love everything this girl says. And you also use that phrase, future possible self. Can you say where that, is it Hargrave or something, where that came from and what it means?
So in my Masters I had some amazing insights and read Abby Hargrave's paper on future possible selves, which was a research project that she did, and it really sang to what I believe in about how young adults see themselves in their future, and depending on people's life experiences that they've had, if they've had positive experiences, they're more likely to envisage a pathway to achieving what it is that they want to do in the future, or even know what they want to do. Whereas people who have had less positive experiences or even a lot of trauma tend to not be able to imagine themselves in the future or see that trajectory of how they can achieve that goal. I think everybody would love a loving family and a stable home environment, but for some people that's a dream, but not an imagined, it's not a real future.
That really resonates with me, because I did some while ago work with City College, now called something else, I know it is, in the centre of Brighton, working with the apprenticeship scheme, and we had people coming in who, some of them were homeless, some of them were single parents, some of them were drug addicts, and to me, you know, I just felt we cannot judge people. We have no idea what's going on in their lives, but the support system around us and our early belief systems of what we were told was possible or not possible fundamentally sets a ordnance survey map that we then navigate. And if we don't know, we don't know. Like you say, if our experience is constantly negative, sometimes that then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that's all we know. We haven't been moved out of that into more positive experiences. And that leads me on to your another gem about Esteem, and you summed it up. What is Esteem's USP? What is so different? You use the phrase gift of time. Awesome. Say more about it.
So when I started on this research project within Esteem, I've been spending time with young adults, and they constantly say that what Esteem gives them is time. And we recognise, the co-researchers, that time that time has been turned into a commodity in modern society. You're paid for the time that you give, and you pay for time that you need. And what people say at Esteem is that we give that freely. We have the gift of time, and we receive the gift of time from people in the community and from young adults when they volunteer with us. And that's the real binding factor that makes us, I think, the different organisation that draws people together in the community.
When I was running Equipping Young Adults for Life, time really played a large part, and it's because so many people, when they're in crisis, think that, particularly when children are involved and their children, that they can nurture a relationship by giving and the gifting. And I'm not knocking gifting, but if time is short, you ask any child what they value most, they will always say time. I want time with my mum, I want time with my dad. They don't care what they do in it, they just want time. And in line with the gift of time, the result of giving them time is this another of Kat's phrases, not mine, you elevate people together. I've gone goosebumpy. Is there any more you can say about that elevating people together? Is there a reflection, whether that's time orientated, or maybe give an example of how you do that?
I think
mechanics.
You said earlier how we work with people. We're on a level where young adults and adult volunteers who support their time, like mentors, and staff, we're in it together, and we bring our own experiences and share those with others, and we elevate people to a level together, and that's what Esteem does. It's about enabling people to have positive experiences, try new things, meet new people, go to different countries. It's those life experiences again. And I think also relating back to Future Possible Sales, that in this day and age there's a lot of jobs that aren't very meaningful for people. There's 0 hours contracts and things like that, that people don't have a positive experience in their role. When a person takes time to take someone under their wing in a job, it means that they're much more likely to stay in that role and have a positive experience. And even if they don't stay in that job, they'll then think, I can achieve that again in the future.
So Kat mentioned about going abroad. They do take people abroad. You have voluntary mentors, and you have volunteers on the ground, from just making tea and coffee. I remember you had a wonderful cook. I remember going for a meal, a community meal. We just all sat there. The meal was amazing. So Kat, if there's somebody watching now thinking, I want to be involved in that, either as a volunteer to give your time freely with somebody who can really boost and advise students moving forward, or indeed somebody who sat there going, do you know what, I'm not in a good place and I need some support, the support that they're hearing. What is their next step? Whether you've got a relative or a friend, where can they find you? And in simple terms, just often I say take a photograph of a welcoming room or of reception somewhere, because people need to know what it looks like going in. Can you create a picture as best you can? What is the next step, and what will it look like? What will it feel like when they take the next step?
Well, the young adults, funnily enough, have actually made a video of a walkthrough of Esteem, which is really lovely. So you can have a look on our website.
Which is what?
Which is www.esteem.org.uk.
Okay.
And with Esteem, you can walk in as a mentor if you've got some time to offer to Esteem and to young adults, an hour a week. That's wonderful. People just walk in off the street actually and inquire about mentoring. We sit down, have a cup of tea in the garden. Otherwise we've got plenty of opportunities for people to come and work with young adults, exchanging cooking skills, and as well as young adults themselves can bring their interests or their skills and help Esteem grow as an organisation and share that with other young adults. And we also offer counselling as well, free counselling. So we are actually filling a little bit of a gap in society, because there's some serious waiting times on unfortunately with the NHS. They're really struggling. So we're listening to what young adults are saying they need and trying to bring in the support services when they're needed, and then in exchange people, once they're in a better place, then often give back, and so the cycle continues.
Fantastic. And you take students abroad, so have you got something coming up, or when was the last trip and where did you go?
Good question actually, Sarah, because we've been very fortunate that Nielsen Watersports Holidays have donated 30 places for Esteem to go and stay in their luxury beach resort in Greece, which is fantastic.
Wow!
But, that's amazing, but the young adults themselves have to raise £360 per person, and so for people who don't have families that they can network with, it's been a real struggle. So we're actually £4,000 short, which we need to raise by the time we go.
When is that?
27th of October, but we need to raise it before then. We're not leaving it to the last minute, because we need to pay for flights and staff costs and things like that, and safeguarding. So the young adults have been doing all sorts of car boot sales, car washes, bag packing, cinema days. So if anyone can help with that would be amazing.
I think that's fantastic. We did it with our own children when they went to university. Yes, we helped them, but we actually said to them, you work out how much it's going to cost, you work out what you're going to do to contribute to it, and it doesn't have to be a lot, and then you ask us for what you need, and that helps protect self-esteem as well, because most people don't like to take everything free, and if they feel they've contributed, then they feel more worthy of then taking that extra help. Kat, it's been a real pleasure seeing you again actually after all this time, and delighted that at least for the next 3 years, and I'm sure more, you are secure in your role and taking the charity to higher levels and greater strength. Thank you so much, and have a great week. Thank you.